Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pokemon Masters Council episode number 44. Justin?
44. How's it going? We're going to be talking about Trick Room today. This is the big Trick Room episode for Gen 9. We did a big Trick Room episode for Gen 8. This is our Gen 9. We're going to be talking about kind of three ladder, and we're also going to be talking about the VGC. Obviously, we're going to do some competitive stuff, talk about some tournament stuff that uses Trick Room. It's all over the place. It's a really good strategy. Still, we're talking about some new and some old returning faces. Speaking of returning faces, thank you so much for everybody that's subscribed lately.
Yes, we are on the journey to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, like Justin said, to everyone who has been subscribing to the channel. If you're an old subscriber, thanks for hanging with us. If you're just watching now for the first time or listening on Spotify, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button on that journey to 1,000 subscribers. We cannot wait to get there. 1K. So, with all that out of the way, also follow our socials, our Twitter, @pokes_council, our Facebook, Pokemon Masters Council, and we also have an Instagram, Pokemon Masters Council. Very complicated and hard to find accounts.
Exactly. Definitely go check out the stuff we've got going on over there. But as for today, whether you watch it on YouTube or on Spotify, like Zero said, we appreciate having you along. We start off every podcast. We talk about a little bit of host hobbies, what you've been up to the past 2 weeks since we did our last podcast. So you weren't feeling very well. You're feeling better now?
Yes. So I'm feeling better now. And I have been prepping. So as many of you already know, I'm an avid disc golfer. That's my big thing. Sponsored by Disc Baron up here in Michigan. Go to discbaron.com. Use code 71353 at checkout to save a little bit of cheese off of your order if you're a disc golfer.
Yeah, buddy. What's that promo code? That PMC promo code?
71353.
71353 promo code for the PMC. All right, so how's that been going for you? You've been doing a little bit of practicing. You had a surgery.
Yeah.
How you doing? Everything's winding up there. You all good to go? You good to rip it?
So I didn't throw a frisbee for 5 weeks. I didn't even throw a putt because I got some stitches in my chest. I had my port removed. Longtime listeners may already know that I had a battle with cancer, which I'm good on now. I'm good.
You were victorious.
I was victorious. So I had my port removed from my chest.
I wish we had the soundboard. We play the clapping track.
Yeah. Clap for me in the comments, please. Clap in the comments. So yeah, I was not able to. Oh, I kind of gave myself a limit, like, hey, 4 weeks, don't even touch a frisbee. It ended up being 5 weeks because the weather was awful, like always. But yeah, this last Sunday I went out full rips, 100% drives, just fully committed to my shot. So no pain, no setbacks. I'm ready to go.
Nice. Let's go.
Yeah. And then the other thing is I signed up for a huge disc golf tournament called Ledgestone Open, and that's in Illinois. And we've got this like point system for every person you beat in the advanced division of an A tier. We've got tournaments, different like tiers of how big they are. This one's an A tier, so it's a pretty big deal. So every advanced player you beat in an A tier gives you 10 points. I need 2,000 points for an invite to the World Championships next year, which will be held here in our hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nice. That's this year?
Next year, the World Championships will be here. But I'm in this tournament I'm in now, coming up in August. There'll be 330 advanced players. So I got into this tournament. It filled in 1 minute. 1 minute it filled, and I got in. So if I crack the top 100, I'll get all the points I need for my World Championship invite.
Nice. Let's go.
So that's the goal. Top 100 at Ledgestone Open. And get that World's invite, and then go.
Ledgestone Open, baby. Let's do it. Heard. Yeah. Let's put that in the calendars, everybody.
Yeah. So that's it for me. That's just been playing disc golf.
You see a bunch of Pokemon nerds out there with naked bellies with spray paint that say "Let's go, Brandon" or something like. You know what I mean? That would be awesome. Cheering like those idiots at the top shelf at a football game.
Dude, paint your bellies like master balls.
See
They should be master ball bellies, dude.
Run!
Yeah, dude. So yeah, that's what I've had going on. How about you?
Just been working on some Pokemon stuff. Been building a couple teams. Been trying some stuff on Showdown. Went to go see Ant-Man. PMC Sport Ninja and I went to go see Ant-Man Quantum Mania. So Ant-Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good movie. Had a really good time. Had some popcorn, as usual. It was delicious. It's the first time we went to the movie in a long time.
Only cost you $60 for popcorn and a pop.
Yeah, but it was a long time, long time since we got to, go do that. So it was, I honestly didn't even look at any of the price tags all day.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you how much I spent. Don't even care. It was worth it. You know what I mean? It was in one of those moods because it was such a rare thing in nowadays, right?
You can't put a price on friendship.
Yeah, it was super fun. We hung out with the little ones. We played with some Play-Doh. We watched Frozen 2. He has 2 little girls. Obviously, you have the boys.
Yeah.
Hung out because he was Dr. Dad for the evening, so we had a lot of fun. So we just had sort of a pseudo family day for a couple of hours, and then at the end of the night, obviously we did our normal PMC stuff once everybody was in bed. So it was a lot of fun, good time. You obviously got on. Everything was great.
Yeah.
Other than that, Warhammer's been kicking off. We have some huge news. And obviously, maybe right here, we could pull it up on screen. But the big, giant news in the room is the fact that obviously, for people that know, I put Warhammer models. This is a full army right here. So, that. What the whole thing is about, right? And I play dwarves. These are sky dwarves. These are steampunk sky dwarves. They're basically sky pirates. They basically fly around on these ships and they shoot people. It's a lot of fun. We're getting a new book, so we're getting brand new rules. It's been 3 years. We're one of the last. There's 26 or 27 armies in this game right now. There's only 3 right now. One of which is us. The Caradron Overlord, we call them KO. Mm-hmm. Our Sky Dwarves are one of 3 remaining to not have a new updated book so far.
So yeah, you're just falling to the wayside by like Pit and Smash Bros. You know what I mean? Completely untouched for almost the entirety of the game.
Yeah. So it's really exciting to have new updated rules. Hopefully things will get cleaned up, just user friendly. That's all I'm hoping for. As long as nothing, I like where the army's at now. Power level, as long as nothing gets nerfed, I'm super happy. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking for a cleanup. I don't need buffs. I like where everything's at. If they give me buffs, though,
who's gonna cry? Who's gonna cry about it?
Let's go. So yeah, super money. So speaking of which, this is my new tournament list. This is my new 2,000 point list.
Looks beautiful.
So yeah, as you can see here, there's something new. So you've seen this boat on the channel before, and this thing's basically in the 99% finishing stages. But look at this beautiful thing. All the glowy blue bits are all glowy blue. All the shiny bits are shiny. The green's
beautiful airship.
And then look at this dude with a keg on his back. He's holding up a big mug of ale.
Something hipster. Well, no. I feel like
party.
Dwarves aren't hipsters, dude. Dwarves don't do no. You know what I mean? They don't do IPAs and stuff.
No. It's always ale because it's an old fantasy, right?
Yeah.
So it's always ale.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. What would it be? I think it'd be whiskey drink. Maybe bourbon.
Yeah. If it was
whiskey or bourbon.
If it was a beer, it would be a wheat beer, like those German wheat beers. I think it's nice and heavy, something thick.
Nice heavy. Yep. But yeah, that's called that's the biggest of the 3 ships. We have 3 sky ships, small, medium, and large. That's the large. Okay? It's called the Ironclad. And then
did something break?
Nope.
Live on PMC. breaking stuff.
No. I had the little. I've got a new model here. It's not painted, obviously. Here's a second ironclad, but obviously it's a different one because I have to be unique, right? So I can't just have two of the same thing. I mean, I could have, but that's no fun. So what I did is I took a big tank from so Warhammer has 2 games, Fantasy and Space. This is from the Space Dwarves. It's like their big land vehicle. It's called the Land Fortress. So it's just this giant tank of a unit with guns and everything. And I turned it into a giant helicopter.
Let's go, dude. Looks pretty good, though.
Thank you. So the helicopter rotors, just like this one, these are they come from the same kit. It comes with one set of like rotors that's large and one set that are small. You can see the difference right there.
Yeah.
But they come out of the same kit, so they're all, and it's a dwarf kit too. It's called the gyrocopter. It's the original sky thing that this army is then based off of, basically.
Yeah.
These are supposed to have like blimps. I didn't like the blimps, so I did the helicopters. So that's what I did here. Is I turned the big tank into a helicopter, and I think it looks pretty sweet so far.
Yeah. So can't wait to see the paint job.
Thank you, sir. The doors are open in the back and on the sides, so that way we're gonna have some of these dwarves standing out here shooting pew pew.
Yeah, put some homies in there.
Yeah, so they'll just be standing out kind of on the doors, just shooting. And again, it just adds a little bit more flavor. So when you look at the thing, these dwarves will obviously be from my game, as these models from the future game. Sort of helps to blend it together, as well as other details. Lots of other stuff like that. But yeah, been a lot of fun. So this is the new list. So this is like the try-hard mode. But just like in terms of my tournament season. So with a brand new book on the way, this is a try-hard mode for right now, because I have a tournament right before the book drops. Actually, the tournament is the day the book drops, but we're not allowed to use that book.
Oh,
which is fair. It's the day of. Like, nobody would have enough time to like read the rules and know all their stuff.
Okay.
And that's part of it. We are on a timer, and it's a social event too. Like, you're not supposed to waste your opponent's time. You want to be a good opponent.
Right. Yeah.
So, super fair. Super fair. But that means I'm going to be running old stuff. But it is super fun. My event coming up is a doubles event. So imagine, Zero, you and I are on the same team. Okay? And we are versus PMC Joseph G and PMC Sport Ninja. Doug and Mike are against us on the table. Everyone at the table brings, instead of 2,000 points like normal, 1,000 points.
Okay.
But you and I are on a team, so we play our turn together. So you can have elves, and I can have dwarves, and they can have zombies, and he can have stuff that's not supposed to mix. You can mix whatever you want. So I'm going to be pairing with one of my Grand Rapids League partners. His name's Evan. He's one of my main practice partners. He's going to be playing Death. So he's going to be playing like feral vampires. And I'm going to be playing my Sky Dwarves. So 1,000 points. Still old rules, but a lot of fun. And getting all this ready so that way, knock on wood, if the rules don't change too much and yada yada points and whatever else, I can still run a list somewhat similar to this, and everything's pretty much painted except for my new ship. So very exciting time. New tournament season, new book. Already got one tournament underway and another one coming up, and just like by the time the next podcast, it'll be like the day after. So
tournaments.
Disc golf, Pokemon, Warhammer. Speaking of Pokemon tournaments, don't we have a Pokemon tournament to talk about, Zero?
We have a huge Pokemon tournament to talk about, actually.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. So actually, a big deal.
So not only was this a big tournament, this is the first international. This is not a regional, Zero. This is kind of a big deal. So pretty exciting, kind of worth a little bit of a deep dive, but we're going to go through a little bit here. Gavin Michaels, congratulations. U.S. player, coming and taking in the crown down in the Oceana.
Yeah, and with a certain third gen rep that you're pretty wild about.
Oh man, I mean, I can't be more happy. Penelope coming in first place, the Pelipper Rain Team. So yeah, pretty exciting. Do you have this on the screen?
Yeah, I do. So I can actually pull up. We kind of look into the team a little bit.
For podcast members, what do we got, Zero?
Yeah, so we've got Amoonguss, Dragonite, Iron Hands, Penelope, the Pelipper. Sorry, we're always just gonna go Penelope first before like we actually say what it is. Baxcalibur and Palafin. Now, there's a couple of Pokemon we want to kind of like point out here, right?
Yeah, like big shout out to the Amoonguss, big shout out to the Pelipper, and obviously a top 3 favorite for you, Harpooya.
Yeah.
The Dragonite's on this list. So tell me about the Dragonite. What do you think?
So this is kind of the new trend we're
Because
seeing.
there's a couple in top 8. There's 3 in top 8.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
So this is your time, bro. Like it's coming in hot down under. They love your boy.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the first place Dragonite, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so this Dragonite, this is kind of what you're seeing now. This is the new trend, is you're seeing this Terra Flying with Terra Blast. So you've got you've got a flying.
What do we
stab.
call that here? The double dip.
The double dip. So
yeah.
It's really interesting.
We need to get a graphic of like those when you get the ice cream cone when you're a kid and they dip it in the fudge.
Yeah. Or those remember those little sticks of like solidified sugar, and then you lick it and then you dip it in sugar, and then you lick that sugar off, and then you dip that sugar in sugar again. That's what it is. That's how potent this is. So yeah, Extreme Speed.
The double dip.
We already know Extreme Speed is super powerful. Terra Blast, so you're getting this nice 80 base power, Terra boosted Terra Blast for flying. So and this is really interesting because you can't run fly in VGC, right? Just not like a thing you should do.
Yeah, like you can do it on the ladder and cheese some people, but at a tournament, it's never going to work.
Right, because this isn't like Phantom Force that can protect her on fly and stuff like that. And then Aerial Ace, honestly, yeah, it doesn't miss, but it's 60 base power. You're not really getting the most out of your Dragonite when you're using Aerial Ace. But it is used. Even in this tournament, we've seen it used.
Yep, I think it's the next Dragonite down, I think, has it.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to point out on this team was this Baxcalibur. We're seeing this is a similar kind of build to the one Chisok Lee was using, but it's Terra Poison, Justin.
Yeah, that's the one you've been running. It's really, really good defensive typing, obviously. Kind of a neutral ground for quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like, we've been talking about Terra Poison on this podcast, so like it's really quite prolific. You'd be surprised. But the Dragon Fang, I think, is interesting. So he's going for those just baller Glaive Rush, just dunking from downtown like Jordan. I don't know. That one to me was very like that's the one that really got me to like pump the brakes and look at it. But also, if I'm allowed to gush a little bit, I want to talk about something that I thought was really interesting and unique. Not only is he running Dragon Fang for the Glaive Rush with the Terra Poison, which is not like super crazy. We've run that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dragon Fang is not standard. Like that's not a thing. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
But then on top of this is really interesting tech. First of all, Mystic Water on the Dolphin.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. But Haze, bro.
Oh, do you think that Gavin looked at our how to use Dolphin guide, bro?
Let's go. So the cool thing here, obviously, by mixing it up and having this offensive support, what are we repping around here?
Yeah.
Oh, being able to have the Haze, because both Dolphins have 100 HP, and Super Dolphin's actually pretty bulky.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy to one-shot him. Or not as easy as you'd think, is what I should say.
Yes.
So being able to have Haze here, he's a great Dondozo check.
Absolutely. It doesn't like necessarily like outright beat it, but you've got other things on this team that can handle it pretty well.
But because you're on doubles, you then have a partner as well.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, super strong. Get that haze and kind of erase those buffs that Dondozo is getting. It's really, really interesting.
Terra Steel on the Shroom.
Yeah, that is an interesting choice. You're usually seeing a lot of Terra Dark, so they can't be Prankster taunted. Yeah, let's move into some other teams that we found pretty interesting. Justin, we were talking about this third place team off camera. We kind of liked this.
The first Arcanine on the list, third place.
Yeah,
we take those.
Yep.
But no, in all seriousness, it's the Iron Moth.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're here to look at, right?
Mm-hmm. And again, as Zero said, this is the second Dragonite in the list in terms of rankings, and this one has Aerial Ace.
Yep.
Now, again, I don't know how much Minimize there was at this tournament. I don't know how much Sandville Hacks there was at this tournament. But those things are super popular right now on the ladders.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
It is.
Thanks, Wolf.
Yeah.
Bring in the cheese. And then all the cheese heads start coming out of Green Bay and they hit the ladders all at once, right?
Yeah, good players don't use Minimize. I'll just say that. And I'll leave it there. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Minimize baton pass out to Sandville with Bright Powder.
Yeah, dude, we literally fought that.
Like, thanks. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, Aerial Ace obviously can't miss. There are other moves that can't miss. It's 60 base power versus the 80 base power of Terra Blast. This dude's doing the Terra normal with the E-Speed and Choice Band, though. So he's going that route. So talk to me about the alternate Harpooya set. Showing off his versatility already.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that this made it so far, because I, like, personally, in my opinion, I feel like Choice Band Dragonite's kind of dying out, the Terra Normal E-Speed. It's, you're seeing a lot less of it, especially in the singles ladder, but, you know, this is not singles. I'm seeing a lot more, like, opting for, like, as much coverage as possible, or opting for Dragon Dance. So this is really interesting and pretty cool to see Choice Band Dragonite still up here so high.
Especially because things, as we've talked about, everybody's preparing / over preparing for the Iron Hands fake outs. There's a lot of Terra Ghost.
Yeah, we're seeing Terra Ghost. You're seeing a lot of Inner Focus Dragonite. This one obviously is multi-scale, but yeah, lots of over preparation for that Pokemon.
So let's talk about the Moth, buddy. What do you think? I love that Terra Grass. Now, I'm assuming that this is going to be booster energy for speed? Question mark?
Yeah, I would imagine, because obviously the big draw here is Acid Spray, right?
Yeah, buddy.
So we got Acid Spray. It's like 20 base power. It's a poison type move, but it lowers the opponent's special defense.
Yeah, 20, 40. It's low.
Yeah. Lowers the opponent's special defense by 2 stages, and then that's where Tatsugiri and Fluttermane come in.
Mm-hmm. That Scarf Tatsugiri with Terra Steel, in case that comes in, he's actually pretty legit in a fight by himself. He's not only there for the Donnie, but when Dondozo does come in, obviously he'll get swallowed up, and then he's just out of the game. But being able to fire off a Stab Draco, being able to fire off Dragon Icy Wind, those fast Icy Winds, so you can lead with this kind of thing and then bring Dondozo in, suck him in. You know what I mean? Because somebody might draw, and he's a big draw, like, oh, kill the thing. Because he's got the commander buff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of tricks you can do with that Scarfed Tatsugiri.
Yeah, and even Scarf Tatsugiri gets outsped by Booster Energy Iron Moth. So that combo always works, and both of these Pokemon are, have really oppressive speed tiers when they're boosted with these items.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously the Fluttermane. But again, not the standard, homie. This is crazy. I kind of like it. Terra Grass.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I also like that.
I'm assuming that's to get around not only Spore, but also the Rage Powder.
Yeah, because this it looks like this person is definitely kind of prepared for redirection shenanigans, because He's also got
Moongus or
Moonblast.
Brute Vomit.
He's got Moonblast and Shadow Ball, and Dazzling Gleam. He's got the spread option and the single target, so it's kind of cool. You can just kind of like pick and choose.
That's the zero build right there. Protect 3 attacks, and you go Moonblast and Dazzle for those bombs, and you can't be redirected. That's that zero build. That when I saw that, I thought of you.
Yeah.
That's exactly the type of stuff that you do. Like I've seen you do that with back in 8th gen with Hatterene and Gardevoir.
Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes, because I use, like, Cresselia. I was using, like, Moonblast Cresselia.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I hate Cresselia. Cresselia is my Breloom.
Oh.
Cresselia is my Breloom.
Okay, well, wait. You can only have one. Is it Screamtail or is it Cresselia?
Cresselia.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. I will continue to use it.
Screamtail's just a derpy design, and she's annoying to fight against.
I named mine Nezuko because it's got it has like the same kind of, it's got like little fangs and like the eyes look the same and the weird hair. Yeah.
I thought it was a lazy design.
Yeah.
Just like Sandy Shocks. I just thought it was lazy.
So
like it's just a vampire with Jigglypuff with hair.
Why is it so big too? It's so big. You would not expect, like in game, it's huge. It's like a giant balloon, dude. But
so I really, really do like the number 7 and also number 14.
Yeah, so number 7, we got to shout this guy out. Chuppa Cross, making his third top 8 out of 3 tournaments. This is his lowest placing so far in Gen 9. And
he's still running that kind of core squad, but as we were talking about it, like Pokemon always do, he's just evolving it over time. And it's kind of cool to see the evolution of like the tornado around the core.
Yeah, and then like you said, Chojin Pang down here at 14th using the exact same team, copy paste. Everything is exactly the same.
That's a good squad. Running one of your favorites this gen, the Palma. Is he your favorite 8th gen rep?
You know, that's a tough question. I do really like him, but like it's hard to choose because I like Iron Valiant and Iron Moth, but those are just redos of...
Okay. Let me clarify. Is he your favorite Gen 9 rep that's not a Paradox Pokemon?
Probably.
Like, excluding Paradox.
Yeah, probably at this point. I would say, probably Palmont.
He's a cutie.
Audacious.
And he's good in game.
Yeah. Yep, I was building a squad yesterday, and I didn't put him on it, and I'm like, oh, but Palma. But yeah, so they're running that same squad. So
obviously he has that revival blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also that Terra Electric with Focus Sash, obviously. Mm-hmm. He's always running Focus Sash on this Palmont set for that Sash revival blessing. Being able to revive a Pokemon, that's amazing. That's really, 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 really clutch. So having the Terra Electric allows you to do double shock again.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't get rid of your Terra Electric then, and you just keep doing it. Close combat is amazing. Mm-hmm. Stab close combat's always good. I like the Arcanine is Terra Dark.
Yeah.
For the Snarl / no taunt for the Willow.
Yep. Also got the safety goggles.
Oh yeah, always going safety goggles with Jake right now. He's such a good Amoonguss counter.
And then another thing to note, we've got this Talonflame with Covert Cloak and Terra Ghost, Justin.
Yeah, so the Terra Ghost is obviously for the like E-speeds that we talked about, where the Covert Cloak is for the actual fake out itself, because regardless of, you don't always want to Terra the bird, right?
Right.
So you have the option. And again, then it also, it's not just fake out, it's all secondary effects. So Covert Cloak is actually, useful for a lot of different things in the meta. But I would assume that that's what it's there for, is that way it's like turn 1, he can still get off whatever move he wants, like Tailwind, because he's super fast. Mm-hmm. So he'll take the fake out damage, but he won't get flinched. So then he'll still click the Tailwind, and that way he doesn't have to burn Terra. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I think.
And then the Terra Ghost is just like, oh, if there's like a big E speed or two E speeds, we see Dragonites and Arcanine all the time. It's even on that third list had both of those with E speed. So I'm assuming that's another reason I have that Terra Ghost is just to really give it to him, as it were.
Yeah.
Or again, you can tear, because otherwise, why would you have the Covert Cloak, right?
Right.
He's not super tanky, so it's not like and he's a fire type, so he can't be burned. Maybe for paralysis, but he'd probably die from electric attacks. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just running through the list. He can't be frozen.
Yeah, it's got to be the fake out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's keep going. We got a few more here we wanted to talk about. One of them was this 20th place team. This legend is running Pavilion, bro.
Pavilion. So look, it's sort of a meme in the Warhammer Age of Sigmar community. That like down under in Australia, that the meta is upside down, is what we call it, the upside down meta, because they run crazy stuff. They run armies that don't do very well, and they take them and do 4-1 or 5-0, which is means that you did really well. You won all your games or lost only one all the whole weekend. It's funny to see that this is represented also in Smash.
Yeah.
This is also represented now here in Pokemon. Like, Pavilion, what?
Yeah, dude.
I've never seen anyone run that, even on the cheese ladder.
Dude, yeah, so Pollen Puff, Rage Powder, Tailwind, Protect. So it's kind of cool because you're getting like Redirection, Healing, and Tailwind all in one, right? Kind of like...
Yeah. It actually is. It's really, really interesting because it's good against the like prevalence of fighting types.
Yeah.
Or fighting type moves, I should say. It's good against the grass type moves. Times 4 resists all of those grass type moves. It's, I don't know. Like, I mean, it doesn't resist steel, does it?
No.
No.
But like Friend Guard is another really strong ability.
Friend Guard's great.
Yeah.
Because now there's 2 Friend Guards on this team. So I want to talk about this Mouse Hold, not the Population Bomb. This is the Mouse Hold that PMC's been repping. This is our Mouse Hold preference. So Terra Ghost, very, very strong. No fake outs there. No E-speeds. There's a lot of great defensive options there. Because, again, once you see what the Mouse Hold is providing, when somebody's running like a support, once it clicks that, oh, this isn't a population bomb. But either way, like, he's a big target, right?
Yeah, always.
Because they're afraid of the population bomb.
Mm-hmm.
But once you realize, the Super Fang's actually really good. The Taunt. Base 111 speed Taunt 0.
Super, super fast. And super, super useful.
Yeah. You're a big representative of that Taunt. And again, it's not priority.
Right.
So you can hit those dark types.
Yeah.
It's just fast. Pretty legit there. Again, double Friend Guard on this team. He has the Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and Protect. So being able to have the Rage Powder and the Follow Me to set up either bulk ups on the Cerule Edge with Clear Amulet. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the Rage Powder with Sash. So you might even be able to get 2 Rage Powders.
Yeah.
And then to be able to set up the Nasty Plot or the bulk up with either Grodingo or Cerule Edge. We also have something a little interesting, Terra Grass Iron Bundle.
Yeah,
and then also Encore. I like this bundle.
Yeah, this guy, it's really interesting to see a variant of this without Icy Wind so high up. Because, Icy Wind is kind of, part of the reason you run it, to be perfectly honest. We're not...
Because he's so fast.
Yeah.
He's so quick.
Yeah. So usually you're kind of actually using this for speed control, and it's very interesting that you went with a much more offensive version. And then obviously the Terra Grass, so you're not weak to grass, you're not weak to electric, and once again, you are immune to Spore and can't be redirected by Rage Powder. So a lot of people kind of preparing for Amoonguss in Iron Hands.
Boy, yeah, because look how many there are.
Yeah.
There's so many. So, yeah, pretty cool. A lot of Iron... not Iron. What's his name? Great Tusk.
Yeah.
A lot of Great Tusk, as we've predicted. Super cool to see all of those. Quite a few moons down here, too. Quite a few roaring moons.
Yeah, we had 3 in the top 8, but then, yeah, you're starting to see a whole lot of them pile up in the top 32, and then obviously further down. There's a few less further down, which is kind of interesting, so must lend it to, it must be a good Pokemon.
Last thing we want to talk about, one of your favorite pokes, if not your favorite 8th gen poke.
Yeah.
And we may or may not have a battle video featuring her coming out soon.
Yeah, we got this team in 24th place featuring Hatterene. This is a hard Trick Room team. The perfect segue to our main segment in a few minutes.
Yeah, dude. So, perfect representative for the Trick Room episode, right?
Absolutely.
Terra Water.
Yeah, this actually makes a ton of sense, honestly, because I, was building a team, we've got this Trick Room squad, and then obviously I was building a different team, and I just kind of slapped Hatterene on it because I wanted to really feature her. This actually makes so much sense to make this Terra Water, obviously, because then you can handle Steel-type attacks a little bit better. Dragons like to Terra into Steel and use those Steel-type attacks, so, and then obviously Scizor is very popular in the 3v3 ladder. So this actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I really love the moves on here. So you got the Protect and Trick Room herself, as well as having Trick Room on the Armarouge and the Indeedee.
Yeah.
Triple Trick Room, so you have lots of options. The safety goggles on the King.
Yeah, if you look at this team, there are so many answers to sleep. There's Amoonguss itself, Terragrass Iron Hands, Magic Bounce Hatterene, Safety Goggles King Gambit, and then Terragrass Armarouge. Like, nothing's getting
you're set.
Nothing's getting put to sleep here.
Yeah, and you see the prevalence. Like, go check out our How to Use Amoonguss guide. There's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally S tier. People are preparing this hard because you have to. Because if you don't, he wins games.
Yes.
You have to bring the answer. So it's pretty cool. I like this squad. It actually looks really fun. Spoiler alert, I'm looking for a rental code of something like this.
I know. I don't know if I'm not seeing like any rental codes on here.
I'd run this squad right now.
Yeah. All right, guys, if you find rental codes for this, drop it in the comments because we want to use it. But yeah, Justin, I think with all of that said, I think that was the perfect segue into our main topic. I think now is a good time to take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll talk all about Trick Room in Scarlet and Violet. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, I can't wait because like that squad gets me hyped. That's exactly the type of squad I want to run.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys, we're going to refill our coffees. We'll be right back, and we'll talk about Trick Room. All right, and we're back as Justin flashes the notes and the beautiful coffee cup. Show the people. Show the people. Look at that. Look at that. It's just amazing. So anyway, it's time. It's time to talk about Trick Room, Justin. We did this last gen, and we're going to do it this gen as well, right?
Yeah, so coming to a big revisit, it's kind of a big deal for us. It's one of our go-tos. It's a great, whatchamacallit? It's like a great strategy. It's like a team archetype, you know what I mean? It's one of the most popular team archetypes. Basically, it turns slow things fast. It turns the way that it calculates speed for every turn. So normally whoever's fastest, that will dictate priority in the turn, whether you're in singles or doubles. Well, in a Trick Room, it flops that upside down. So who's ever normally going to be the slowest is now the fastest and vice versa. So the slower you are, the faster you are is essentially what it is. It's pretty cool. It lasts for, 4 turns?
Yeah, so there's 2 really important tech pieces to Trick Room. The first one is that...
It is a psychic type move also.
Psychic type, but okay, there's 3 important things. It's a psychic type move. You're going to see a trend on who can learn psychic type moves and who can learn Trick Room and who's a psychic. You're going to see a trend. Anyway, so 2 really, really important things about Trick Room. 1, it has a -7 priority when you use it. So when you decide to click Trick Room, you will go last. That is a guarantee.
Period.
So
Period.
you have to be able to...
Don't worry about playing games.
Yep.
You're just going to go last.
Yes. So you have to be able to sponge a hit or predict a switch to get your Trick Room up. Or whatever. There's lots of different strategies. We'll talk about those strategies for setting up a room when we get to those respective formats. The other important thing to note about Trick Room, it says it's 5 turns, but it actually is only 4. Because like Justin said, 4 turns. The turn you use it, they count that as a turn of Trick Room. Awful mechanic. Terrible.
Even though it goes last, so you can't benefit from it. There's no way to use Trick Room and benefit it from on the same turn that you click the move.
Exactly.
Even though the turn you click the move is the first turn of Trick Room.
Yes.
So there's only 4 usable turns of Trick Room.
Yes.
So, Zero, talk to me about Trick Room in 3v3.
So Trick Room in 3v3. Let's dive in to the single side of it. So you want to use Trick Room in 3v3. Here's a brief overview, right? Justin, on a scale of 1 to 10, viability, I would give Trick Room like a 4 or a 5. I don't think it is the strongest strategy. It's fun, it's cool when you use it and make it work.
And why is that?
Well, part of that is because there's not as many viable abusers of Trick Room, and there's so much that you need to do to get your abuser into the game, right? There's not a lot of Pokemon that can set up a Trick Room and then just start dealing out attacks and dealing out damage. And like Screamtail. Okay, you can set up a Trick Room with Screamtail. How you get Screamtail out and get your Trick Room user in, that's a whole strategy in itself, right?
Yeah. Harder to use. That turn of switching out is kind of a big deal, which, spoiler alert, in doubles, obviously.
Not a thing.
It's all difference in the world, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it really does.
Having somebody else there to be like, all right, well, now we're both slow. Now guess what?
Yeah. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. But you have been actually, you and I sat down, or actually you kind of challenged me to write a team using one of your favorites.
Yes.
And in 3v3, which is not normally what I'm building teams for, but trying to make sure that I'm well-rounded and balanced and everything. So this was my attempt at this. And I basically gave you the rough draft, and then you made your, because you're the 3v3 guy, you sort of made your tweaks from there. But basically it's built around Hatterene. So what did you think? You've been having fun with it, and we're about to show that off in a video. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Should be next week, I think?
Yeah. Should be out Monday, Tuesday, something like that.
Nice. So stay tuned to that on the YouTube channel for, the Hatterene squad.
Yeah.
Practiced in 3v3s with Trick Room. So this is not just speculation. We obviously have done the homework. So I guess, Zero, talk to me about some of the setters, I guess, in 3v3. What are some of, if you're going to see it? Well, first of all, I guess, do you see it on the ladder?
No. Pretty much. Oh, okay. I see it when I use it, and that's pretty much it, dude.
Okay. So that's fair enough. So who are some of the setters that you thought of that were, worth mentioning or worth trying out?
Well, first and foremost, we have Hatterene herself. We've talked about her a lot today. She's my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon, maybe tied with Grimmsnarl. Either way, this is a perfect example of a Pokemon that can set up a Trick Room and then deal massive amounts of damage afterward, right? 136 base special attack. That is actually stronger than Alakazam. It's got this beautiful 29 base speed. That is
what? Yeah. So what's her defenses looking like? So she might get hit that turn, but obviously, she could have Sash.
Yeah.
Can she live a hit on the turn that she clicks Trick Room?
Absolutely. You see this 57 base HP, and it's not really that great. It's kind of like a ghost HP, but 95 base defense and 103 special defense, and then access to Terra allows you to sponge hits even better than you could before.
Yeah, dude. Up next, we have the old Jigglypuff Paradox herself, Screamtail.
Yep.
This thing is insanely bulky. Very, 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 very thick girl. Hard to take down. Good typing. Terra is an option. Not only does she get Encore, Disable, Calm Mind, Baton Pass, she also gets Trick Room. She just has all the support moves.
Yep.
So that's a really good option to have here is a nice bulky poke that can sponge a hit on the turn you click Trick Room. And then, like we said, Baton Pass has a way to, switch out. Screamtail's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Up next is sort of a pick that I was not expecting to be on the list when we were prepping for this show, but Rabska.
Yeah, dude.
The old scarab himself. Talk to me about the bug.
So, Rabska, deceivingly bulky. 75 HP, that's better than Hatterene. A little less defense at 85, and 100 base special defense. So, actually very similar, like, base total stat-wise. Extremely similar to Hatterene. Honestly, just a worse type.
Yeah. But it also, like we talked about earlier in the tournament coverage, it's also the other Pokemon that gets Revival Blessing. So, kind of interesting tech here.
Yep. Another thing I will mention about this Pokemon, this is like the one Pokemon that can Trick Room and then Memento as a pivoting option. That is a strategy I used a lot in Gen 8. It was one of my favorite strategies for pivoting a Trick Room Pokemon out and into your attacking Pokemon. So definitely something to note there. Memento knocks out the Pokemon, knocks out your Pokemon, so it would knock Rabska out, and lower the opponent's special attack and attack by 2 stages. So reverse weakness policy at the cost of your Pokemon, but it gets your Pokemon in very, very safely.
Yeah, it does end up getting you a free switch. And if Hatterene has already set up the trick, or if the Rabska's already set up the Trick Room and done the Revival Blessing, that's pretty much it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a... That's actually not a bad... You know what I mean? That's not a bad setup at all. Last up here for the setters, buddy. What do you got?
We got Slowking. So, Slowking is
very, very thick.
Yep, it's a Pokemon with access to Trick Room and Regenerator. So this is a Pokemon you could put on your squad, set up a Trick Room, and then when you switch to your other Pokemon, you could come back with some more HP. Obviously, Regenerator heals 1/3 of your max HP when you come back in. Well, when you switch out, but then when you come back in. So, Justin, it gets Trick Room.
Which is very, very good.
Yeah.
And then it also has a move that only it learns. And stay tuned to future episodes if and when, fingers crossed, that this is a move that gets spread around. And also, Excel Rock. Give more Pokemon Excel Rock. But
Yeah.
Chilly Reception. What is this?
Okay, so Chilly Reception. So this is, like the in-game text. Okay, I'll tell you what it actually does in-game, and then I'll tell you what this actually is. So, Chilly Reception, it's an Ice-type move. The user starts the snow and then switches out. So, pretty good in like a quote-unquote hail team. They're not hail teams anymore, like a snow team to get a bulky Pokemon like Titan in, right?
Yeah. Very, very nice. Especially right now in the Pokedex. It's either that, clicking the move Snowstorm, or bringing Obama.
Who kind of sucks, but...
So, right now, there's no Ice Cream, there's no Dino. Being able to have another Hail starter like this is pretty cool. And again, it works really well with the Regenerator. So, yeah, really great. So, being able to set up Trick Room really slots into that domino effect of, like, this is just a perfect set. So, I like it. I like it a lot, especially in a singles format, being able to swap out. Maybe go out to your Rabska and then bring back your Hatterene that died from the early skirmish, and now your Hatterene, you know what I mean? Now the Rabska, and then use your Memento. Now Rabska's dead, but then now you can, you know what I mean? Like, there's a domino effect. I can totally see it just with these Pokemon alone.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are some folks that could abuse it in singles if and when the Trick Room gets set up that aren't the actual Trick Room setters themselves? We already talked about Hatterene. Who else could be a nice abuser of the Trick Room?
Well, Hatterene, definitely one of the best with that really high special attack that we mentioned earlier. Another one is Torkoal, dude.
Yeah, Torkoal's really great. Strongest
Eruption
right now. Base 80 special attack, but because he's got Drought, it's Sun boosted. A lot of times, if they're going that route, they're probably going to have the Charcoal, so that's really, really strong. just amazing. Does spread. It's the higher the HP, the stronger the damage. The lower the HP, it'll decrease down. Just like the whale
Yeah.
as well.
Yep.
Another third gen rep there. But yeah, Torkoal's great. Base 20 speed. So he's basically outspeeding everything in the game in a trick room.
Yep. Incredibly slow, so that really helps Len. In Trick Room, he's faster than Hatterene. Yep, so Torkoal, really, really strong one. We'll be talking a little bit more about this Pokemon when we talk about our next format, too. But here is a Pokemon that I've been having a lot of fun using in a Trick Room. That's Clawitzer, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty thick. What is it, like 120 Spec D or something? Like, it's not bad.
120 attack. The Spec D,
120 attack.
He's got almost 90s for defense and special defense, but I've been running it with Assault Vest.
I thought he was a bit beefier than that, but that's all right. But he's decently slow, and he does hit hard with Mega Launcher.
Yeah, so Mega Launcher, Pulse moves have 1.5 more power, so it's actually really strong. So what I've been running is Water Pulse. I've been running Dark Pulse. Aura Sphere actually falls in this category as well. Really nice for Steel types, which a lot of Trick Room Pokemon kind of have a hard time dealing with outside of Clawitzer. And I've actually been using Terra Blast and going Terra Grass with the Assault Vest.
Yeah, dude. Being able to... God, I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of the Assault Vest Clawitzer also. He's one of those pokes that I like the design of and I've never been able to pop off, so it's pretty hyped that you've been able to put some work in. He's a cool poke. I really like the fact that we can run Water Pulse, and we're encouraged to, so we don't have to worry about pump missing.
Yeah, for real, dude.
But yeah, seriously, the Aura Sphere is great because that's one of those that can't miss. So, and then also, it's really good. There's the Moon that's part fighting. The weak to fighting, The Cat's weak to fighting. A lot of Terra Darks right now to try to be immune to the Prankster Taunt, so you can just pummel them. A lot of Terra Steels trying to get rid of those, you know what I mean? Be immune to the Clear Smogs and whatnot, so takes care of them. So I actually really like that tech on here. Aura Sphere is a great move. I wish more pokes got it.
Yeah. All right, so then moving on, we've got, I think Arboliva is a pretty good Pokemon in a Trick Room.
Yeah, she's slow enough. She's kind of like a slower utility grass version of like Gardevoir, but really high special attack. So she's slow, good special attack, can smash you with Giga Drains, or I think she learns Leaf Storm also. She can also do Stab Hyper Voice, which is cool. She's part normal, so normal grass. Give you some immunity switch-ins if, you know what I mean, maybe, like, again, a lot of people that set Trick Room are Psychic types, so being able to switch out, so maybe they're going to be shooting a ghost type move at you, like a Shadow Ball from Fluttermane, switch out to a normal type and just get a free switch.
Yeah, 109 base special defense too, so that's super helpful. Also has moves like Earth Power, Dazzling Gleam, Strength Sap, one of the few Strength Sap users in this game, right?
Yeah, dude, Strength Sap is amazing. Cuts their physical attack, heals you. He'll do less than consecutive, but it's really, really good at making her super bulky. And she's the only, right now, poke that has an ability to set up the grassy terrain. There's no grassy surge in the game right now, and it's going to get a big nerf because Boomer apparently doesn't have... We're not going to... That's okay. That's okay.
We don't want to bring up that pain right now, bro.
Arboliva has Seed Sower, so when she gets hit, physical, special, as long as you hit her, it'll then start the grassy terrain. So before Trick Room setup, this is really good because she can tank a hit. She's bulky. Set up the grassy terrain, then hit you with Giga Drain, and it's now a grassy terrain boosted Giga Drain, and slurps back the HP. So it's a pretty legit tactic. Arboliva is pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the final Pokemon that we kind of wanted to shout out. Yeah, Brute Bonnet, the Super Teemo. So this Pokemon I really like running Terra Fire. That's your tech. That's your tech. I'll give you the credit for that one. Terra Fire.
Yeah, because it allows you to take on bugs. Because again, he's Grass Dark normally.
Yes.
So it allows you to deal with bug. It allows you to deal with fairy, especially. That's the big one. As well as it's just a good defensive type. Like, again, we've talked about this before on the podcast. The three starter typings are actually really good terror typings. Fire, water, grass are all really great. They're all insanely good.
Yeah.
As like a pure one type.
Yep. I like to run loaded dice with Bullet Seed on this. Crunch is a great option as well as Sucker Punch.
Yeah, depending on what you think your team might need. I like Crunch especially because if you're going to do Trick Room, I don't know. I don't know about singles, but in doubles you're probably going to have Indeedee. So then Sucker Punch is nullified.
Yeah,
but yeah,
yep.
Sucker Punch and singles could be really, really good. Just be able to clean up those kills regardless of the speed tier. But if you're in a Trick Room, Brute Bond's pretty slow, so he might just be able to crunch people and just smash you, regardless of what move they click. So there's ups and downs to both. I'd probably go Crunch right now as well. But yeah, the Bullet Seed is really strong. I think it's 127 base attack, stab, Bullet Seed with the loaded dice, minimum 4 times hitting. That's really, really good.
Yeah, and then obviously like access to Synthesis and Spore. Those are some really nice moves. Spore obviously always good when it comes to any format, really.
Yeah, being able to just one-click sleep.
So, Justin, let's talk about VGC a little bit. How do you feel about it in VGC? Because,
well, I mean, it's way easier to pull off than threes. It's easier to pull off because you just have pressure from, like, there's redirection from your partners. Like, the fact that there's 2 pokes there, so you can, like, the biggest option we've ever used is obviously just Trick Room Protect.
Yeah,
just like Tailwind Protect. It's the same thing. It's the easiest setup in the world in doubles. Do you know what I mean? It's actually like literally one of the easiest things in the world to set up. It's maintaining it that can sometimes get tricky later on. But setting it up originally is not hard.
Yeah, your day one strat is protect your offensive piece, so your Iron Hands or your Rhyperior, rest in peace, and then clicking Trick Room with your Hatterene or your Dusclops, rest in peace. So that's the day one strategy, Justin. What are a couple other strategies we can use to get the Trick Room up?
We also, like I said, we have redirection. So in Trick Room, you can use things, or in double, you can use things like Follow Me or Rage Powder, stuff like that to, not to mention Ally Switch, rest in peace a little bit. It still exists a little, but
yeah.
It's basically dead compared to what it was last gen, which is kind of a good thing, I guess.
Yeah,
I think we needed it for Dynamax, though, but that's a conversation for a different story.
Yeah, for sure.
I think in doubles, it's one of the best strategies. Like we see it in the tournament stats alone. Like it's not just me saying that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The tournament stats tell us that, you know what I mean? What was it? 5 out of the top 8 in Orlando, or 5 out of the top 16 in Orlando.
Yeah, a bunch
had Indeedee Armor Rouge.
Yeah. So
and then a 6th team had Armor Rouge without the Indeedee, and that one still did have the Trick Room option.
Yeah,
like it's just super solid. Especially there's a lot of Tailwind in the meta. You just flip it upside down. Now your stuff's faster. You don't have to worry about speed tiers that much.
Yeah,
it's pretty legit. So we've talked about a little bit now here in passing, but in terms of the big setters, we have Indeedee, Armor Rouge, Toadscruel, Gothitelle, Farigiraf, Screamtail, and Mimikyu. So obviously here, there's a big one in the room, bro. The Indeedee and the Armor Rouge.
Yeah, so talk about those.
Yeah, in VGC, these are the go-tos. Like, if you see them, they have Trick Room on their sets, period. That's just how it goes. It doesn't mean they're always going to use it or click it in every matchup, but they have that option. So if you're going to go like hard Trick Room, that's where you start. They can both set up Trick Room. The Indeedee's the best one, I think, because it started off as a glitch, but now it's actually part of the game. It's legal in tournament, so it's official now. So regardless of how it did get in, now Indeedee female from the raids, you can have Trick Room. So thanks, Game Freak.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this in our last episode about Indeedee male in VGC setting up Trick Room. And we had talked about, oh man, if only the Uraraka, if only the female form got it. Well, this gen, luck of the gods, now she has it. And she is the GOAT. She's the best. She's super thick, super tanky. She sets up the psychic terrain. She often carries the psychic seed, which gives her more special defense. And then she also can redirect with follow me. She can set up a trick room and not be like prankster taunted out of the setting up trick room. She's completely immune to things like Murkrow. She can check things like what's her name? Fluttermane. Fluttermane really struggles to deal with Indeedee because obviously she can't hit her. She's normal psychic.
Yep, for sure. Definitely the best Pokemon, and like you said, thanks to a programming error, it's here to stay.
Yep, it's part of the game. So past that, let's talk about Toadscruel's cool. He's can set up Trick Room. I've seen that before. It's not my favorite, but I think he's pretty. I think he can do it if that's what you want your team to have. He's a super solid pick. Gothitel's really popular. Wolf literally won the tournament with this, right? And then obviously Screamtail, as we already talked about in singles. There's not a whole lot to say about Screamtail, just because we already talked about her in singles. She does the same thing in doubles. She's thick, and she can set up Trick Room as well as Disable and Encore and a bunch of annoying stuff, right?
Super annoying.
There's not a lot of difference in playstyle other than the fact that now she's a partner instead of just one of three. She's one of four, and there's two at a time. That's the only difference. Farigiraf's cool. Gives you that pseudo Indeedee, but it blocks your team. It shields your team from priority, but your team can still use priority. Whereas in Psychic Terrain, obviously you can't use priority either, but now your Psychic moves are buffed. So there's sort of that dichotomy of like the trade-off there, right?
Yeah. This Pokemon obviously touting that 120 base HP. Got a decent move pool. But yeah,
and obviously we're talking about the ability Armor Tail when I talk about his protection and priority. So it's a good poke. I do think Indeedee's better than him because I think it's worth it to like give up your terrain if you can whatchamacallit, like just like plan for that. You just don't bring your prankster stuff. Does that make sense?
Right, because like if you're switching the speeds around, you don't need priority. You just won it in the Trick Room.
Exactly. And being able to set that up is really, really good. The last one here is obviously the Mimikyu, with protection from disguise. Mimikyu is really good at setting up Trick Room because you basically guarantee one turn. You're a ghost type, so you're not going to get faked out. You know what I mean? You can run Mental Herb if you really want to, and then it protects you from Taunt. There's a lot of options here with Mimikyu to set up Trick Room, which is a great option. But for abusers, for VGC, oh boy, there's a lot.
Yes, there most definitely is. It's a lot more of a spread of Pokemon that can do some damage in this format than in 3v3. And let's talk about them. The first one, obviously, is Armarouge.
Yeah, Armarouge is great. He sets up the Trick Room. He can use the Trick Room. Obviously paired really well with the Indeedee, given his boost. And Armarouge is the only poke right now that has access to the Rest in Peace. There's a lot of Rest in Peace. They cut a lot of people off at the ankles. But he's the one with the Expanding Force. So when Indeedee's out with the Psychic Terrain, paired with the Expanding Force, everybody knows how that works. But if you don't, it does mean that you get the Empowered from the terrain, so your Psychic moves do more damage. And it also means that your Expanding Force now itself becomes a higher base power move and turns into a spread move.
Yeah, 120 base spread.
Yeah.
And that's before you factor in Stab and the Psychic Terrain boost. Yeah, so it's like 180 to like 200 base power.
Yeah, it just goes through the roof. It's insane. He just drops bombs.
Yeah.
Pair that really well with the Torkoal, because then Armarouge is also part fire. Sometimes could even Terrafire. We've done that before. In the sun, really strong. Torkoal also, with those eruptions, then becomes a spread move as well, like we talked about in threes. Now is a spread move in VGC. He's probably the slowest thing out there, and he just drops bombs on both your opponents. Yeah, they can protect through it, but it puts a lot of pressure. It's a lot of damage coming through in a Trick Room.
Another thing about Torkoal is it has access to these really good utilities. Like, outside of just, like, doing damage, it has... You can go two ways with Torkoal, right? You can go with like the yawn protect shenanigans, maybe throw body press on there, and then like heat wave, right? Or you can go for the like fully offensive version where you've got eruption, solar beam.
Yeah.
A lot of these are Terra fire with charcoal. So big.
So you're just like quadruple dipping that cone, right? It's covered in fudge.
Yeah. So big damage potential from Torkoal. Also big utility potential from Torkoal. And I think that's something that you and I really value in this Pokemon. It's kind of been a mainstay on this channel.
Yeah, and then Brute Bonnet coming up next. It's kind of similar to what we said in singles, but obviously here in doubles it will have access to Rage Powder, just like the regular Amoonguss. So we'll talk about Amoonguss and Brute Bonnet kind of together. Amoonguss being Grass Poison, Brute Bonnet being Grass Dark, Amoonguss being better at special attacking, Brute Bonnet being better at physical attacking. They're both really thick. Lots of great Terra options. They can both Spore, point click, you're asleep. And there's no sleep clause in VGC, so you can sleep you, sleep you, I can sleep you. And in Trick Room, these guys are slow, especially Amoonguss. Amoonguss is way slower. So being able to, in a Trick Room, have top or near top of the turn priority with sleep is very powerful.
Yeah, and this Pokemon probably makes better use of Rage Powder because it can sponge fighting hits. It can actually sponge, not like, it doesn't resist things like U-turn, but it can sponge. It just sponges things a little bit better.
But they can sponge the ghost, or not ghost. They can yes, ghost, but also dark type attacks that might be thrown at like your Armor Rouge.
True.
They can sponge those, whereas the Indeedee can obviously redirect ghost type attacks all day because she's part normal, but the dark will just smash her. So being able to have a different type coverage, and the Amoonguss is really good because then he can also sponge. He can sponge ghost, dark, and bug.
Yeah. For
your Indeedee and or your Armor Rouge to pop off in the Trick Room, or as well as your Hatterene.
I think whatever one you choose is just kind of like whatever your team needs, because they're both going to put things to sleep. But if you're missing a little bit of offense, and like say your team is really weak to Ghost and it's really weak to,
I think it depends on type coverage. Defensive type coverage. Do you need Grass Poison or do you need Grass Dark?
Yeah, like
and then the conversation of Terra past that. But that's where it's because they have Rage Powder, they have Pollen Puff. Teemo has Pollen Puff. I don't know if the big guy does. But the other guy is more offensive. So the other guy can actually slap with like a Bullet Seed, Seed Bomb, Crunch, Sucker Punch. So do you need that offensive pressure? Do you want to go the Clear Smog, Protect, or Pollen Puff? They're very similar, but not the same.
Exactly.
But otherwise, in a Trick Room, I think one of the biggest ones, whether it's on the ladder or in tournament records, Sylveon's a big shout.
I think so too. This is a Pokemon that it's kind of cool to see that this Pokemon has evolved with the formats. So obviously it's got Pixelate, right? Turns your normal type moves into Fairy and gives them 1.2 times power.
Yeah. Which is especially good in VGC because then she has Hyper Voice, which then becomes Fairy type, and then it's boosted because of Pixelate. And then she could potentially Terra Fairy. You don't see it too often, but it is an option. We've seen that with some fast pokes like Screamtail. We've seen that with some slow pokes like we just talked about with Hatterene in that Down Under, in the tournament down in the Oceania region. So Sylveon, you could definitely do that. And it also has Quick Attack, depending on whether or not you have the Psychic Terrain up, or maybe you're going the Farigiraf route, where you can still use priority moves. Having the priority, even though it's physical, it's still Quick Attack is normal, which then turns Fairy and then gets buffed. And could potentially be Terra Fairy, double dip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Quick Attack is actually a really good option on the Sylveon.
What we're seeing now is because of the emergence of Iron Bundle, we're seeing a lot of things that used to turn Terra Fire are now turning Terra Water. Like this is one of them. Because it's like this next level, like big brain play where, you know, Iron Bundle's like, oh, they're gonna turn Terra whatever. They're gonna turn Terra Fire. So they go for the pump, and then you turn into a water type and just annihilate them with Hyper Voice.
Shrug them.
Yeah.
And you shrug them.
Yeah.
Or they, you know, more realistically, you're gonna turn Terra Water thinking you're gonna, oh, gotcha. And then they're just gonna miss the pump altogether and you wasted your Terra turn.
Stop it, dude. Stop. Why does it hurt so good?
Another good thing, because it's a Sylveon is an evolution, they all have Shadow Ball. And I think that's actually really underrated tech on the EVs or on the Sylveon right now, because there's a lot of good use. There's a lot of Pokemon that are Terra Ghost. We just went through the whole another tournament, the first international tournament. And look how many Terra Ghosts we saw in the top cut.
Yeah.
There was so many Terra Ghosts. So, not to mention, you know, there's things like, I think Skeledirge has a really good place. And, you know, because he's another unaware poke. He's very bulky. Gudra, very bulky. Great Tusk, very bulky. You can see a lot of trends here. They're bulky, but they also hit hard, right?
Yeah.
Iron Hands, he can be utilized in the Trick Room. But another really big shout here for somebody that can actually abuse the Trick Room both defensively and offensively, as well as utility. He's just great all around. The second of, what do they call them now? The pseudo legendaries.
Yeah, everything's got a
pseudo legendary
fun little
T-Tar
thing.
himself.
Yeah, so T-Tar, this is a Pokemon we're kind of seeing rise up in popularity a bit, right?
Yeah, he brings the Sandstorm. I like AV because then you're double dipping. You get the Sandstorm plus AV for Spec D. You can really shrug some hits, and you're Dark type, so you can potentially like set up a Dragon Dance and not be taunted. There's a lot of potential here, even though he's a Rock type. And I dog on Rock type attacks, or Rock type defensively, but because there's so many weaknesses. But there are a couple of key resistances that Rock does have. So it's not all bad. But obviously you have Terra. So you just Terra to whatever you want. The problem is then you would then lose the Sandstorm buff. You would not get hit by the chip because of your ability. It's just the way the sand abilities work. But you would lose the Spec D because you're not Rock type anymore. So sort of a double-edged sword there.
What we're seeing is really the most common is we're seeing Terra Flying. That's a really popular one just because resist the fighting moves, immune to ground. We've seen some Terra Blast, Rock Slide, Earthquake, Crunch, Terra Blast, maybe Fire Fang
with AV.
With AV, yep. And then, you know, if you aren't running AV, you just take Terra Blast off and you just run Rock Slide, Earthquake, Crunch, and Protect.
Yeah, exactly. Just go for the nice stab coverage plus the Quake Edge.
Yeah. So
it's really, really strong poke. Very thick, very, very strong. Hits hard. I think there's a lot of good potential here with Trick Room in Gen 9 so far. It's been a lot of fun to play with. We've done some 3v3. We've done some VGC. And we have also, been reviewing all of these tournaments and stuff, right? So it's interesting to see the prevalence evolve from Gen 8 now to Gen 9. It's been a fun journey so far. What else? You got any closing thoughts about, Trick Room as a whole so far in Gen 9?
I definitely feel like Trick Room it's still a really good strategy, right? It's a top shelf strategy. We're seeing it rise up in popularity right now. It was pretty prevalent in this international Oceana Internationals. More
like
so.
It's not a meme, and it's not something that's only for the ladder. It's a tournament. It's a tournament viable strat too.
Yeah. I think the loss of Dynamax has really hurt it for the most part. Remember how dominant like Dynamax Rhyperior self-proccing weakness policy.
The Dynamax cushion, as we call it here on the channel, the HP buff.
Yeah.
It meant a lot. The moves that buffed were also a big part of and then they can't miss, and like the moves were the other side of that coin of what was sort of the negative of Dynamax. It was, for me, it was the cushion. That HP meant it was so huge what it did for so many different folks. Like, so yeah, you said Rhyperior, bro. That gets me hyped. Let's I guess that's the best way to close. Let's talk about the future Pokemon to watch out for, because we do we are coming in at the end of February.
So we do have some Pokemon who are confirmed to be getting in. A couple of them Hisuian. One that I'm kind of hyped for, and I know you are as well, Hisuian Gudra.
Yeah, dude. Big one for me would be, besides that, would be Weirdeer.
Absolutely. Weirdeer.
That's the big one. Again, normal, psychic, great defensive typing. It does have Intimidate. It's very bulky. It gets screens. It's Side Shield Bash. This thing's going to be awesome. But past that, another good abuser maybe coming in from the Hisuian region. The Bear. Ursaluna,
that one is going to be pretty big.
Super Poo. Because obviously, Ursaring is Pooh Bear.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my god, dude.
And now we had Teemo and then Super Teemo.
Yep.
I'm just following the track record of the channel.
All right.
So Pooh turns into Super Pooh.
Okay,
right?
all right. Fine.
And it's just a coincidence that they decided to show off the fact that he's part ground by putting mud all over his face.
Yeah, you can't help
Dark
it.
brown mud all over his face.
You can't help it.
And then, I'll be based on the track record of the channel, we have to call him Super Pooh, as in Pooh Bear. Don't make it weird.
Okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm making it weird.
You heard it here first, though. When Ursaluna comes in, I do think he'll be great in a Trick Room. He is a thick boy.
Yeah.
Thick with that Stab Earthquake.
Yeah.
So we can basically do like a pseudo, because then he could double dip into ground. He could be like a Trick Room tank bruiser, insane power, kind of like a Rhyperior, or like the fast Groudons were. He could be a tank version in the Trick Room.
Yeah.
And just smash through people with the Earthquake. So I think he's a big shout.
Also,
obviously, Rhyperior.
Yeah.
If Rhyperior gets back in, S+ in Trick Room, he's the man. If he was in now, dude, we'd already have like 3 features. We'd have people commenting to stop recording with this guy. We don't want to see any more Rhyperior. He is my favorite, I think, in the Trick Room in doubles.
Yeah. So then we got a couple other ones we got to shout out, because eventually, right, Justin, we're gonna get to the Uber.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Eventually, right now. It's probably not gonna happen for another 9 months to a year, maybe. Could be more. Hopefully, we'll see. But eventually, we're gonna get restricted metas again. It always happens. Dialga, Palkia, Groudon, Kyogre. These are all insanely prevalent pokes in Trick Room formats when they're restricted. Whether it's 1, 2, or all 6, depending on what restricted format you're in. You know what I mean? For me, Dialga's the GOAT. Like, Dialga can set up the Trick Room. She can abuse the Trick Room. She's super tanky. In the Dynamax format, she was great with either Assault Vest or a Weakness Policy. I think now it's still the same thing. I think you're pretty hot on the Palkia, right?
Yeah, I think Palkia is a pretty underrated Pokemon. It's an interesting setter. It's actually surprisingly bulky. Not a whole lot of weaknesses outside of Fairy and Dragon and Freeze Dry. But that's a really strong Pokemon, I think, that's been underexplored. I think Necrozma Duskmane in a Trick Room, that's a Pokemon that we featured in Gen 8. I think if it makes it in, that would be a really strong Pokemon too.
Yeah, dude. I also think, obviously both of the reps, whether it's Groudon or Kyogre, they're both really thick. They're both 90 speed, which in a restricted format, you know what I mean? You could actually utilize that in a Trick Room or in a Tailwind, depending on your EV spread, and. I think they're great shouts, especially with their weather control. I got one that's not necessarily restricted format, but it could be, depending on, it's both. But Glastrier and then Calyrex Ice.
Yep. My signature Gen 8 team was Calyrex Ice and Mimikyu in a Trick Room.
And my second favorite VGC squad was Trick Room with the in terms of not restricted, but it was the Cradley team, the Sand team with Gigalith, Cradley, Dusclops, Primarina, Incineroar, all the best.
Yeah, that was a good squad, dude. That was a good squad. Rest in peace to Gen 8. But
yeah,
we're on Gen 9 now.
So yeah, Gen 9, really excited for all those pokes I just said. Incineroar coming back, Primarina coming back. That'd be sick. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, there's rumors that both of those, Incin and Primarina, are coming to Unite. That's pretty sexy.
I'd play some Incin and Unite, maybe.
I'd play some of that Goodra looks fun, some of that Primarina.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in terms of the future, we just have to wait, baby. There's a right now it's the 24th. On the 27th, I believe they said, will be the Pokemon Direct. I don't think it's called
Pokemon
Direct,
Day.
but,
the Pokemon Day
Pokemon
presents something. I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that thing might be I'm assuming that'll be our announcement of when we get our home update, because we're almost to spring, and they did say spring. So fingers crossed. That's what I'm hoping for, Pokemon fans. I'm hoping that it is news of the next whatever the update is. You know how we had like the armor of the armor Isle, and Isle of Armor, and
Crown Tundra. Yeah.
It might be the announcement of that as well, but for sure, I think we're going to get something with Home, right?
I think so too.
So
yeah,
Home / and or DLC.
Yeah.
What? Anything else you think that or hyped for?
I would like to see them announce Series 3. I think that'd be a good time to announce Series 3. It's the end of this month, and
that'd be cool.
They usually announce the new series at like when there's 1 month left in a series.
Because it would be April when it would start, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, people then
maybe they'll wait.
Then the Series 2 hype would kind of die down, and we're still like we are knee deep in Series 2 right now. Like I know you and I are still just like going crazy testing teams. So yeah, but yeah, I think that covers everything, right, Justin?
Yeah, dude, this has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to get out of here and go play some more. We've got a Hatterene in the singles video, and we're working on, I don't know if it's going to make it to a video, but we're also playing some Hatterene in doubles. That's what I want to go try.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. This was another good episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope you tried out some Trick Room. And we're going to go play. So.
Yeah, let us know down in the comments below, as usual. What do you think of the episode? What do you think of the main topic in terms of, Trick Room? What's your favorite users in terms of Pokemon that click the room, the
Trick Room?
In terms of Pokemon that click the move Trick Room? Or abusers, Pokemon that are slow and can, basically be now a sweeper inside of being, using that slow topsy-turvy Trick Room speed.
Yeah. And then hopefully our next podcast will be live as well. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. It's just Michigan weather, man.
It's been so bad to us, dude. So anyway, guys, we're going to catch you on the next one. Until then, I've been Zero.
And I'm Justin.
Council's adjourned.